So with me today is David Wright. David is the founder and CEO of the Spending Planners Institute. So I know that there are a lot of people out there at the moment who are under money stress, struggling with money issues, living pay to pay, and under a great amount of debt, and wondering how on earth to get off the roundabout. Would that be correct in saying that, David?
Absolutely. I think more so than ever before, and I'm really concerned about what's going to happen when interest rates start to go up. Give you an idea, I was just looking at rentals the other day, and I saw one advertisement that I was looking at. The amount that a house was being rented for was what I would perceive to be pretty much one person's wage. So a husband and wife, you would go, okay, one of them is just working just for the rent.
Yes.
And the other's working to put the food on the table and to pay the bills.
Wow.
If that doesn't put you in money stress, I don't know what does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of money stress, a lot of people struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's this, people aren't getting ahead. They're not being able to move forward to that next stage of home ownership, or even further down the track into financial planning and looking at their future retirement.
Yeah, being set up for retirement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And it doesn't really need to be that way, but when you are in it, in the money stress, because we've all been there, I know you have, and I certainly have, you really can't see that it can ever change, and you're just going to be stuck on this treadmill forever. And it doesn't feel good at all.
No. So, David, now I know you were in that position quite a long time ago, and I know that you came up with a solution to that problem. So I'm really excited about talking about that today.
Yeah, okay.
And so tell me a little bit more about that.
So this is sort of like 25 years ago, roughly. We had the recession we had to have.
Yep.
I had a stay-at-home wife and 3 little kids, and interest rates were really high. We had a brand new home. And I'm thinking the bank will be knocking on the door wanting the keys to the house back, and we've only just moved in.
Yeah.
And so sitting at the table late at night stressing over bills, like I'm sure most people are these days, I really feel their pain, because I've been there and experienced it myself.
Sure.
And I was sitting at the kitchen table one night, and the little thought bubble came above my head. This is not what I signed up for. How do I get out of this? I'm doing the best I can, and it doesn't seem to be good enough.
Yep.
I made a conscious decision that night that I was going to look for a solution. I was going to find out A, what the problem was, and B, what the solution was. And so I just sat up late at night, night after night after night, scratching my head and thinking, okay, what's the solution? And when it finally dropped and I worked out what the problem was and what the solution was, I got so excited. I just wanted to share it with everybody.
Okay. Wow.
And I've been able to help thousands and thousands of people since then. It's quite a story which we won't get too involved in here today. But
sure.
Over 30,000 people have used the system that I created.
Wow. Okay.
And thousands of them have contacted me and said, wow, you changed my life with what you created. Okay. And that makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
To say the least. Excited even, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so you found the solution.
Yep.
The problem obviously is we don't know how to handle our money.
That's a little tough.
Okay.
Everybody's trying really hard. I'll guarantee that.
Right. So, and they are. I know today there are a lot of apps that the banks have put out that we can, track our spending and all this sort of thing. I know that every year at the beginning of the year we're told to,
do a budget.
Do a budget. But how do we do a budget?
Yep. I wouldn't waste my time, actually.
Okay.
That point in my life, prior to that, I had done so many budgets, it was like, I'll just do another one tonight because maybe the one I did last night was no good.
Yep.
And I did so many budgets and I proved they don't work.
Okay.
So it's a little frustrating, and I think most people know, at the start of the year, the money gurus come on the TV or the radio and they say, here are my top 10 tips for solving your money problems and creating wealth in the next year. And we're all ready for them. And my number one tip is, and we're all going, do a budget. And we've all done it. We glaze over because we've all been there, done that, got the T-shirt, it didn't work.
No, that's right. So tell me, why do budgets not work?
Budgets are two-dimensional. They tell you on one side you put your income, on the other side you put your outgo, your expenses,
Yep.
and you try and do the juggling act.
Yep.
And you take some stuff off here or you put some stuff on here and to try and get it to work. At that point, you've got a piece of paper and maybe proudly hang it on the fridge door that says, this should work.
Right. Yep.
But the reality is, it doesn't work because it doesn't tell you how to do it. It just says it's possible.
Okay.
So you go, oh, I've done my budget. Oh, I feel so good. And 3 weeks later, the rates bill and the car rego arrive on the same day. And it's kind of like, I don't have the money for that.
Okay.
And you're thinking, but I did my budget. What's gone wrong?
That's right. Because I seem to earn enough money on one hand, and I've done my expenses and I've got my income, and it all seems to go together. But as you say, all these bills just seem to come in all at the one time, and I've only got one pay packet coming in, or maybe two, and it just doesn't work. So how did you find a solution to that problem, and what is the solution?
Well, I had to identify the problem first.
Okay.
Yeah. So the problem was very simple.
Yep.
And this is long before we had internet banking and internet even. We would get a bank statement every month.
Yep.
And when it arrived, it would say, here's a little history lesson of what you did last month. And at the bottom, it would say closing balance.
Right.
And I would just stare at that number and scratch my head because it didn't tell me what I needed to know.
Yep.
These days, all of these apps that gather all this information from your banking tell you what you did last week, last month. Lots of wonderful information that's looking backwards. But if you ever tried driving down the highway looking backwards, what happens?
Well, you're going to crash. Yeah.
So I worked out that all of what I was doing was looking backwards.
Okay.
All of the software that I'd looked at, everything was all about gathering data of the past.
Okay.
And I would look at closing balance and scratch my head because I wanted to know not what I had, but am I in trouble? Have I got some spare money so I could buy some plants to put in my garden or, take the kids out for an ice cream or whatever?
Yeah.
The bank statement never said that.
Okay.
And these days you get your phone banking app, you log into your phone banking. Everybody's got that these days. You can log in 30 times a day and see where you are. It probably hasn't changed since last time.
Right.
And you're left thinking, is it a good number or a bad number?
Right.
Have I got some spare? Can I take the kids out to the movies? Can I?
Sure.
Or are we already in trouble and we just don't know about it?
Yep. Okay.
And the problem is you only find out you're in trouble the day that it happens.
Okay.
And then you can't do anything about it.
Right.
So I worked out the problem was everybody's trying really hard to get it right, but we don't have this is what right looks like.
That's right. Yeah.
We don't have a future view. We only can get a past view.
A past view. Okay. So we're looking at the past. So that's the budget. So that's the problem, obviously. So what's the solution?
Well, the solution is now that you know that you're flying blind and trying really hard to get it right, you need to take off the blindfold.
Okay.
Now, most people don't even know that they've got a blindfold on.
Yeah.
So they're just trying really hard. They feel like they're on the treadmill. I hear people say, I earn really good money. I've got no idea why there's never any left over for me.
Yes.
That's a typical thing that I hear, and I think, man, can we help you?
Yeah.
Because all it's missing is direction, a plan, and a knowing where you need to be.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds so simple.
Well, simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. It's definitely simple.
Yep.
And it's actually very easy if you decide to do it.
Okay.
Okay? And I guess one of the biggest hurdles that we have to overcome is it's really hard for someone who may be watching right now to go that it's possible. Like they're probably thinking, yeah, right. I can't believe that you can change my life and take away the knot in my stomach. I've tried everything. I've heard of all these people that went to financial planners and didn't get the right advice. They went to, there's so much bad news out there about money that I can't believe that someone can actually solve my problem.
Yeah. And, a lot of people are sitting there right now thinking, well, you haven't seen my bank statement or my credit card bill or my, personal loan or my mortgage or whatever. And it's just all so overwhelming. And I know there are other people out there who we can go to for help, who we can ask for help. But I guess it's very much at the moment about who can we trust and why should we trust them,
Certainly. Why would you trust a spending planner?
Absolutely. And what is a spending planner?
Well, a spending planner is somebody who has learnt my system.
Yep.
In most cases, there's somebody who's used my system personally, changed their life, got so excited like I did all those years ago, that they're going, wow, I just want to help other people. I want to share this and I guess pass it forwards, because once you know how to do it, and it's so simple, and it's like, I don't want to see other people suffering what I was suffering when I know that it's so easy to solve the problem.
Okay.
So a spending planner is someone who passionately loves to share the message that you don't have to keep suffering. A spending plan, it's the best way to describe it, it's like attaching a crystal ball to your bank account.
Oh, okay.
We all know a crystal ball is looking into the future.
Looking into the future.
We talked about everything that we've got available to us is looking backwards. A spending plan allows you to see what your bank balance needs to be, not what it will be, what it needs to be every day for the next year and beyond, so that money pops up and says, hey, it's Christmas time, here's $1,000, go do your shopping.
Oh, wow.
Hey, it's your daughter's birthday, go and buy her a Christmas present. Hey, the rates are due, here's the money to pay the rates.
Okay.
Money pops up and says, this thing's due and here's the money for it.
Okay.
As opposed to the bill coming in the mail and you're going, oh my goodness me, where's the money for that?
Okay, so let me get this straight. So we've got a budget over here, and we've got our bank app that tells us what the balance of our account is. We've got our bills coming in, and that's not working.
No.
So now we've got a spending plan that's going to give us the crystal ball look into the future.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that show us how much money we have to have at any given time?
Well, without getting too much into the technicalities of how it does it, there's a software program which is, I created this software.
Yep.
It's now a web-based application that spending planners use. It's a core tool in what they do. What a spending planner does is they educate somebody in how the system works, holds their hand through the process of setting up their spending plan, and then for however long the client wants them to, holds their hand and help them set new goals when they've, like for example, one goal might be, I want to get this credit card paid off. Okay, we've done that. Okay. Now what would you, next thing is, I'd like to go on a holiday. All right, so let's plan for that. So a spending planner will hold a client's hand for as long as they want, but the whole goal is to teach people how to use the software, how the system works, so that they don't actually need to be paying a spending planner to be holding their hand any longer than they need to.
Okay, all right. So a spending planner, I guess, is a little bit like a money coach. Like if you went to the gym and you wanted to lose a certain amount of weight, you would get a personal trainer and you would pay that personal trainer for you to meet your goal.
Yeah.
So a spending planner comes along, trains you and educates you to look after, to set up a spending plan and to teach you how to look after your money and hold your hand through that process. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yep. Awesome. Okay.
There were three things, because I started out going into people's homes doing their budget.
Yep.
What I called a budget really wasn't what I would call a budget now, because budget sucks, spending plans are what works.
Yep.
I realised that I needed to make it so everybody could help themselves, because I couldn't spread myself far enough and wide enough. Created software, over 30,000 sales of people going, wow, I need to change my life, and I've heard from my friend told me this works, I want to get a copy as well. But there were three things that kept coming up over and over again. I have people who would ring me up and say, I saw you on TV, I bought your software, this was years ago, but now I've finally decided to use it.
Right, okay.
That frustrated me, because you don't get the benefit if you don't. So a spending planner actually makes the user use it.
Use it, right. Okay.
The other thing that came out was...
that's more about accountability, isn't it? Having someone who's going, we can do this and we're going to do it together.
Yep, exactly.
Right? Yep.
So it's like, on my own, if there's something that's a bit of a roadblock, it's easy for me to go, too hard, and it gets put on the back burner. Whereas when you've got someone whose job, whose passion is to help you progress and understand and get to the point where you go, I don't even need you anymore.
Yeah, wow.
And that might sound silly from a business model point of view, but we know that if I help you take the knot out of your stomach, and it could be as quickly as a couple of weeks from when we start to when you go, oh wow, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I know, and we know that you're going to go and tell your best friend, your work colleagues, your family members.
Yeah.
We actually want to get rid of customers so that they're independent, because we've got more people coming in who want the same service.
Okay.
So it's not a case of we need 100 people who all pay us for the rest of their life.
Right.
We want 100 people, but we want to pass them as quickly as possible through so that they know what to do and they can go and tell other people about there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. So you've helped thousands and thousands of people. What sort of stories, like where have people come from and where have they got to through using this program?
Okay, so I would get phone calls, as I said a minute ago, from customers, and I didn't use the software, or I did use the software, it changed my life, and in fact we felt so good we stopped using it. And then they fell back in the hole, which is why a spending planner provides this accountability and this until someone's ready to be left on their own. But the results, I mean, people would tell me, we've bought investment properties, we've gone on holidays around the world. Amazing stories. People had said to me, I saved their marriage, because I think most people understand that marriage is usually it's money.
Yes.
That's the problem, and then that the money causes the divide in the relationship, and then in the end we end up hating each other. But it was just because money was such a problem.
Yes.
So I believe I've saved marriages.
Okay.
Cool. In fact, I know of one of the spending planners who said to me that there was a client who openly admitted that they were husband and wife were at the point he was about to move out.
Right. And
the spending planners come in and said, "Now, hang on a second, before you move out, let's see if we can fix the problem."
Sure.
We've gone from thousands of dollars of credit card debt to home ownership.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
We know that it works. 30,000 people can't be wrong. I've tweaked the model from just selling software to now providing a full-on service where people get the mentoring, the coaching, the hand-holding and the goal setting until they know that they're ready to do it on their own.
Okay. So David, I guess just getting back to, there's a lot in media and we hear a lot about who we should trust or who we shouldn't trust or, and there are a lot of companies out there who say, give me your money and I'll look after it for you and I'll pay your bills for you and all that sort of thing. So, why should we trust you? I mean, money is such a personal thing for all of us,
Yep. And it's something that we don't talk about.
No.
Sex and money, they're the two, aren't they?
Yep, absolutely.
You don't want to go
politics,
to work.
But we're not going to go there either.
You do not want to go to work or to a barbecue on the weekend with your friends and say, I'm so stressed about my money. We've got all the... You just don't want to do that.
No.
You want your friends to think that you're a success and they want you to think that they're a success. And truth, you probably both got knots in your stomach, but you're not admitting to it.
Mm-hmm. True.
So why trust a spending planner, I think, is what you're asking.
Yes.
A spending planner really doesn't have anything to gain. There's no way that they can deceive you. They've got nothing to sell you that could be shonky. Like, you go to a financial planner or a mortgage broker, they're going to sell you a product.
Right.
An insurance product, a mortgage or whatever. And they're going to get some kind of reimbursement for making that sale. So you're trusting that they are giving you the advice that's best for you, not for them. But as we've seen in the news, that isn't always the case.
Yeah.
All a spending planner has to sell you is their time.
Right.
So they are basically going to help you learn a system that they know works, that they've used themselves. It's had the results for them that they want, and they go, well, I want to share this. So there's no way that they can rip you off or... And the trust thing, I mean, we're all sworn to secrecy. Spending planners do not share your personal information with somebody else. That's just part of what we don't do.
Sure. So that's the whole confidentiality.
But there's no way that we could take you down or rip you off or do anything because we've got nothing to do that with. All we're doing is going, there's a system that we use, we love it, we want to share it with you. That's it,
Okay, all right. So I'm in stress, I'm in debt.
Let me fix you.
I have all of this, and I am literally on this roundabout that just keeps going around like this, and I'd dearly love to get off it. So what do I have to do to find a spending planner? Where do I find this wonderful
person? Well, you just about told me, because findaspendingplanner.com is where you need to go.
Okay.
Findaspendingplanner.com is where you will find a spending planner.
Okay.
If you want to look beyond that, you'll find spendingplannersinstitute.com, which is my website where I tell the world about the vision, how we want to change the world one family at a time. I have this vision of the spending planning going way beyond me and my lifetime.
Wow.
You know, mortgage brokers and financial planners didn't exist when I was growing up. They weren't professions. They've evolved. They've sort of come out of a need in the last 30 or 40 years.
Okay.
So spending planning is something, the need is there right now. And I had developed a system. It's just a logical thing that spending planning becomes an industry. So we've started a new industry.
Yeah.
We've got spending planners, and I'm training more all the time. Every couple of months I have a new intake of people who just love the idea of turning the ability to help somebody else sort out their money problems into a business that they can run from home.
Okay.
You know, and earn some money themselves, helping other people fix up their money problems. So it's just a lovely kind of business concept, and it you know, we've got so many people who we've already helped and you know, like findaspendingplanner.com is where people should go.
So where are these spending planners? So if I live, you know, I live in Brisbane, so they're obviously spending planners here in Brisbane. So where else do we find
Well, we've got them all around Australia. I've
Okay.
got a couple in New Zealand. I've got one in the USA.
Oh, wow.
The plan is to have them all over the world.
Great.
And it's something that's growing because as soon as because there's this cynicism and skepticism about, yeah, sure, you know, no one else has been able to get me off the roundabout. What makes you think you can? As soon as that person finds, wow, it's like, who else do I want to share this with? Who are my friends and families? It's growing.
Wow.
And I've got people who want to become spending planners because they've had the experience or they've heard of somebody who's had the experience. So I don't think it's going to be too long before, you know, the international... And I have this vision that we can change the world one family at a time. And you think what the world would be like. You know, we see on the news every night there's murders and stupid stuff happening. And I reckon it's because people are so stressed, so tied up in knots and so frustrated. And most of it goes back to money.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So if we can solve that...
Yeah, stress over money, anxiety, conflict in the home, just getting your debts sorted and just learning how to spend money wisely and having a plan for your money and being able to have a crystal ball to the future. And it all sounds like a really great plan.
A budget, we started with a budget is always, it feels like it's taking away.
Sure.
A spending plan says you can spend.
Yeah.
But we just need to have a plan to it. The things that you want, you can have them. But we've just got to do it in a way that is part of a plan.
Wow.
And then it's like, wow.
Yeah, there's real freedom in that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, David, for your time. Findaspendingplanner.com is the place to go for your spending planner, and Spending Planners Institute if you want to hear more about David and his story and look at the bigger vision and mission of the institute.
The institute,
Thanks so much, David.
Thank you.